Hi everyone. My name is Brian Kwok, the program leader of communication design. Welcome all of you to attend this seminar. I do think that you're probably very interested in this program. For the coming 1 hour, I'm going to present or describe what is communication design all about. Probably you have at least you have some idea. So my part, I hope that I can run 30 minutes. And why? Because we have two guests. We have two senior year students. They also like to share their experience to all of you. So the third part, we have Q&A sections. If you, along the line that if you have any question, please feel free to leave your question to us. So in the last section, few of us, we will answer your questions. So let's start. So here is communication design. Probably you have some frustration. Probably you have confused that, oh, what is communication design all about? Probably you had heard that visual communication, advertising. So you still struggle with subject or with program you want to apply. So I think for this part, I would like to address more. So to begin with, I'd like to show you these pictures to describe what is communication design all about. So if you look at these pictures, a little girl actually is dancing in a class. I don't know what class it is, but actually the little girl performing a flower, okay? But if you look at the audience, they have a different interpretations, and probably very disappointed for the little girl because she tried very hard to perform, to dance like a flower, but the audience actually, they saw it in a different way. Some interpret like a fish, some interpret like a cat. So I think some problem actually you can see now. Actually, when we did something, we thought that my message definitely my audience can understand or fully accept or fully perceive. But in our reality, that is not the true story. That's why we need to make sure that our message successfully transmit or convey to our intended audience. So this is all about the program. So I like to, one of my favorite quotes stay from Faskara. He is a design scholar. So he stated that every piece of communication design arrays from the lead to communicate a special message and to obtain a desired response. So I find that this is really true to talk about my program, our communication design program. So we definitely need to understand the user lead. So we have to identify the lead from them. And then we need to find, or we need to send a message, a specific message to them. And then they trigger them to respond, and so that they take action. For example, if you have some designing a poster and the poster talking about the musical event, and then the audience look at the poster and then take action to buy a ticket. So this is a simple example to talk about the effective communications. And to go on to continue talking about communication, most of us maybe we just focus on designing the visual presentation. We can do, or we can draw a very good illustration. We spend a lot of our time to do the visual presentation, but at the end they may have different interpretations. And that's why we need to communicate with our people. We definitely need to communicate right message to our intended audience. Particularly, we have to understand the context. So design is not just visualize or beautify objects or beautify things, but we have to think deeper why and who the audience is and why they need your product or why they need your design to achieve their task. So all we need to do is think about all those questions. So that's why as a senior year student, we expect that they spend their time, the 2 years time to investigate how visual textual languages. So this including typography, imagery, interactivity, and time. So because they really play a critical, substance in communication design. So in order to, clarify information, because definitely we bombard a lot of information. So how we going to structure them so that your audience are able to understand. So evoking emotion again. So we are not just design visual object, but we like to trigger their emotional level. So to make them quiet, to make them happy, to make them sensational. So those are the emotional aspects we have to consider. And inducing actions, again, so if you perceive messages, but what's next your user to do? So they have to take action. How are you going to induce the action? And engendering change, of course, this is the ultimate goal. So this is not just a physical visual artifact, but your design has to make the world change. So in order to further elaborate the previous slide descriptions or messages, so I like to present more example for you so that you can further understand our program. So for example, in this assignment or project, so the students were asked to design a wayfinding system for PMQ. So in the first place, we are not just start with the visual form, but we need to go further. We did a lot of primary research. Then you can see that we are not just do things in the studio or in the classroom. We ask our students to go out to check, to do a lot of observations. So this is what we call primary research. And the other thing, we also ask our students to do a lot of secondary research. So this is also important. So so we understand that your project is not the first project. I mean, it's not the first that you think. So definitely some previous work has done before. Then you have to realize what's wrong or what's bad things that you can adopt or you can borrow. So that's why secondary research, senior students, they need to read a lot of articles, take a lot of reference from other design firms or designer, so that they can equip a lot of knowledge about the projects. And another project talking about health communication. So again, aging population is a serious problem around the world. So how are you going to design object for them so that they can manage their medicine, they can manage their life? So again, this is also important to get closer to your intended users. So we did design not just on your own imagination. We have to ask our students to collect as much as data as possible. So one of the methods that you can see, students have to go to their home to do home visits. The student also need to develop a lot of prototype and then we need to ask the intended user to give feedback on their design. So that the student actually not just get the feedback from tutor, but most of the time they have to get the feedback from their intended user. So that you can see we actually co-design with our audience in the very beginning, so that student can grab as much as useful feedback from them. So here's some examples. You can see it's quite different from what you learn. Probably the student will share their experience. It's really painful. I know that this is quite unlike what you learn because they have to submit a progress report or user test report. So whatever they did or wherever they went out for home visit, they have to come up with a list of detailed information about the user, about the home they live, how the frustration they're encountering. So all this stuff they have to, transform into a textual, report. So this is one of the example. You can see the class activity. So students were grouped into a group of 3 to 4 students. So they have to, collaborate to design projects. So you can see it's not an individual hero. There's no such thing. So you have to collaborate. You have to work hand in hand with your classmate. So I think it would be good because you can share your knowledge. You can share your idea with your classmate. I think this is also very, important in a learning journey. So you can see a lot of discussion. This is the daily activity you can see from their class. So they have to build a lot of chart and analyze a lot of data. So this is posted. And this is the output. So of course, output is also, the final output is also very important, but I think we more concerned about the process. I think the development, this is also important. So as you can see, this is the award-winning project. So it was done by year 3 students, and this is the prize. So I think the student also, they were very happy to receive bronze from the ADC Design Award. So again, we treat our design project not just a school project. I think if your design has very social, valuable for the society, so I think this is your design can contribute to your society, not just for getting an A grade or B grade. So I think this is more meaningful. So you can see our CD graduates. One of the example, mostly, she actually was our alumni. Of course, after graduate, she set up her own business, and she developed a lot of useful product for different kind of users. I think this is also very important to contribute your design to societies. And other examples, and this student actually, her final year project focus on dyslexia. I think this is very important as could be a very hot topics at that time, but I think how you're going to cope with a different problem is also important. So a student actually developed the whole apps for people who has a dyslexia, learning difficulty in read or to recognize a word. I think this is also another meaningful project from communication design program. And another project, again, is quite niche. So this student, she has developed a system, a whole range of fonts for airport wayfinding system. So this student actually studied a wide range of Chinese typeface. She also identified the problem because this typeface, she find that a lot of light box wayfinding, the character is not clear enough to see because a lot of backlit or backlight gone through from the back. I think that the stroke of the character is not really easy to see. So that's why she like to develop completely a new font for this specific wayfinding system. So here's some examples. And I just flip through it. So for our program, okay, so because you are going to apply for senior year place, so which means that we expect that you already have the first 2 years kind of learning experience. And for coming 2 years, we focus on different training. So for the first year, we have some surface learning, and we also have some general subject that you need to fulfill. So in semester, you need to fulfill 40 credits, and it's really tough because I think one of the factors that you can imagine that because probably your previous school, you spend a lot of time training in craftsmanship, for example. But here it may be a different culture. We require you to do a lot of writing, reading, presentations, and sharing, idea exchange. So that's kind of things. So I think for the semester one is quite tough for senior year student. But after that semester two, it become, I don't want it to become easier, but I think you get used to it and you know how to, cope with multiple subjects. So in semester two, I think the main focus, we focus on experience design, okay? In semester one, we focus on information design. So you can see in your first year, two major domains that you have to take, okay? Information studio and experience design, okay? So for your last year, which means year two, so then you need to do your final year project, okay? So it's quite short, so but I think it's really fruitful, I'm sure. So I think these 2 years that you can learn different things. And on top of this table, you can see we provide a wide range of electives. So you feel free to take 3 out of them. So based on your interest, based on the training that you want to equip, so we provide a wide range of electives. So to go further, okay, instead of textual slide, I think it would be good to show a lot of pictures. I think for the rest of the slide that you can see a lot of pictures. So you can see here, you can tell from the face, right? It's a happy face around. So because they were doing a summer study trip. So of course you can join our summer study trip. Usually in the past we went to different cities in Europe. Okay, this is the hot place. Students learn a lot from them. So so apart from learning, so students were invited to visit a different location, for example, museum, design schools. And students were asked to do, a lot of things with the local students. So I think it's a very good experience for students to, to exchange design knowledge with the, foreigners. And the other subject called summer internships. So I think this is also valuable subjects because you are able to learn not just in the school environment, but in the real life environment. So you need to take 6 to 8 weeks to work in a design firm. So in order to facilitate or strengthen your competency, I think this is a good opportunity to apply your design knowledge in the real life environment. So I think your art directors, your supervisor will lead you to do a real project instead of school project. So this is a list of the company they join internship. So we provide a long list of the company, design firms that you can apply. Some design firm that you can apply overseas. So in the past few years, some students interested in, first they probably interested in Europe. But I think in the latest years, they apply design firm in Taiwan, design firm in Bangkok, more Asian regions. I think you can see a lot of students, they have a different interests or they enjoy a different cultures in different cities. And here you can see in the real environment, students not just design a poster or catalog. I think it depends on the design firm that you want to do the intern. So this one of the student, she worked for museums, she works for gallery. And of course, some students need to do commercial design work, okay, for example, like this. So it really depends on student interest or that which types of design firm they like to apply. So I just flip through it, and you can have a quick look. Of course, some students interested in doing emoji like that. And for this case, a student went to Japan, Tokyo, to do internship. So again, of course, most of the time students enjoy life, of course, in different cultures. And they also learn a lot of practical design method or design, how design problem can be identified. So the company can walk through all the things so that the student actually really learn a lot from the real environment. The logo design, the fashion design, and of course they need to come up with some report. So every student after finish the internship, they need to submit the report so that you can see how enjoy they work for the local design in overseas. So one of the important thing, of course, to learn the local cultures, to share your aspect to a different people. I think this is also one of the variable learning preference from it. And another example is experience design, as I mentioned in the curriculums. So what is it? I think in the past we asked students to come up with a theme. Okay, so each year they have a different theme. Okay, so in this case they come up with a boredom. So this is is also interesting topics. So students they initiate topics and they need to find a lot of information in order to create a proper exhibition, for example. So experience design is not just talking about user experience on the interface environment, but also in a 4D environment. You have to also need to consider how where the user or where's the visitor to come to the exhibitions. So how you exhibit your object in the space is very important. So in the semester 2, you are able to learn a lot of this kind of knowledge in this. And students also need to come up with some artwork, okay, for the exhibition based on the theme. Okay, this is examples. this is also example. So this location actually in our SD towers. So we have some space for the student to organize their work in a specific area. So again, you are able to manage not just visual form, but I think the spatial arrangement. So this is also interesting project for color. So I think another year, the theme is color. So blue color and green color, okay? So I think this is very important. And cooperative project is also interesting subjects because you have to collaborate with the client as well as other students from other disciplines. For example, product design discipline and E&I, I mean interior design and environmental design. So you have to work with them, okay, so that you can learn from each other. So a cooperative project is also important subject that you can learn. And you can see students actually group together, they did a lot of brainstorming and they enjoy to share the idea with each other. At the end, they have to come up with final solutions. So this is also examples. You can see so a lot of sharing, a lot of discussions, a lot of development. And at the end, you have to present your final piece to your clients. So I think it's also good to train your presentation skills and also train to how you defend your design solution. I think this is also very important. And students also always invite to go outside to visit a different design firm or different types of design-related company. For example, Monotype is also one of the top Chinese typography or typography firms. So CT student was always invited to visit the company so that the designer, typographer, they can describe the whole process of developing new Chinese text. So students are able to ask questions or witnesses the whole process of development. I think this is also important. So Chinese typography. And the other thing is students also were required to develop custom mix typeface. So this is quite experimental. So this is one of the examples students were asked to do a logo or typographic for the movie poster or for the movie. So this is the whole process. So again, you have to record all the process development. So it is a very important part so that you can communicate well with your tutor and your client. So this is the end result. Another piece. And Western typography too is also very important in communication design too. So this is some examples. Students were asked to do a different assignments. So for example, in this case, students were asked to do a catalog for one typical typeface based on the features of the typeface. So which means that students need to further understand the unique features of single alphabets in order to develop a catalog for this typeface. So I think that task is quite interesting. So this is also examples. So you can see, although this task relate to typography, students also need to consider the whole compositions, color, contrast, and legibility, and the reading behavior, so and so forth. So we are not just appreciate the final piece. I think we also need to appreciate the whole process of thinking, or the developments. Okay. So art direction. So you're also able to take these subjects. So this subject is also interesting because you can initiate one brand and we revise the brand. Of course, you also need to supervise the whole process. So the visual component and the whole tone and manner, and you also need to collect a lot of data in order to come up with this visual identity. So this is the examples. Okay. And of course, students also like to visit a different firm, and for example, here is the printing company. Okay. For example, now students actually, if you look at these pictures, actually students were taking publication design. So publication design is not just managing the spatial, the layout things, but also talking about the printing effect. So what's the latest, printing ink or printing effect in the market? So students have to know the cutting edge printing technology as well as the printing effect in order to further develop their publication design work. Okay, so this is the printing visit. So the printing operator introduced the some machine already managed replace human force, but I think what's the main difference between them, or what's the main specific printing machine can do specific effects. So the student may be curious about that. And color tone and printing color also very important too. And this is also another subject talking about experimental book design. So students were asked to challenge the traditional form of book. So why book flip from left to right? Why we look the text from top to bottom? So we always challenge the traditional way of presenting a book. So this class actually students to come up with a different idea of doing a book. So and this example is also very interesting because this book actually talking about the smell. Okay, so if a book can present 5 senses, so maybe this is also a topic. So how you deliver instead of visual form, touch, any other sense that we can embed into a book form. So that's why students were asked to provide a different solution. So this is the content inside of the book, and can book become like a human scale form? So that it changed the total experience of reading book. Okay. And the other thing is the book can be a very interesting part. So could be more interactive for students. So I think that's all for my part, because I think that's all for my part. For communication design portfolio or for communication applicant, you are required to submit 10 pieces. We recommend you to first arrange design-related works, because if you apply communication design program, definitely we like to see how you demonstrate your design talent or design capability. So if you have some design work like poster design website. If you have done that before, just put it in a few pieces. Then we look at it, see how talented you are. And the other thing, if you have some drawing, definitely it would be good to put it into your portfolio because design also include aesthetics sense. We look at students from a variety of capability.
I was a DSE student, and in my online portfolio submission, I include various types of work. As I was a committee of many school clubs, therefore I was responsible for doing the promotion for many school events. There are photography, videos, graphic design, interior design, and ticket design in my portfolio, as I want to show my curiosity in exploring different types of work. Also, I put my SBA portfolio into the submission because we have spent a lot of time doing our SBA. Therefore, I think this kind of work will be very good to present your personality or ability.
In my portfolio, I've chose 3 words from the VA course in my secondary school. And I think those 3 words are the best 3 words I've done in secondary school to show the best face to the professor. I think the most important thing in your portfolio is to show your process in your portfolio. For example, like how you come up with this idea and concept, and what problem you meet and how you solve the problems. And this will show your critical thinking and problem-solving skills in your portfolio. And I think these skills will benefit you when you are studying in School of Design.
I think what we look at, definitely first your visual work, your creative work. But at the same time, very important for us, you have to describe your pieces because we want to know the whole rationale behind these pieces. We recommend you to write about 50 words or 50 to 100 words to explain why you create this work or what's the purpose behind this work. So through the text, we further understand what's the conceptual idea you come from, okay? What's the conceptual thinking you want to put into this work. So bear in mind that you spend time to describe your work. Don't just simply submit a piece of artwork without any explanation.
I had an interesting dream last night. So, I remembered I downloaded and signed up. Suddenly, the timing of my dream came a few weeks after and I had been using it several times. Let me share how fun this app was. It was like a social media platform, but it was about dreams. First, you can look at your friends' posts on the homepage. Tap a post to watch the video in a small window, and then tap again to enter full screen. There are audio recordings by the post owner.
We could see another block.
You can mute and unmute the recording anytime. Then click close to return. I remembered I saw a touching dream story, so I commented on that post. And then you can explore other users' dreams and search to follow your friends. This app can use either user or keywords to search. So I remembered I searched and requested to follow one of my friends. After that, I didn't know why the timing of the dream changed again and I was trying to create a new post. I entered title, story and keywords in text, and then held the button to record a detailed story in audio. I chose the corresponding mood and then the video was generated based on my input. I previewed it before posting. After entering the caption, I could either post as private so only specific people could see, or save to my local library. Since the video turned my sad dream into a beautiful one, I saved it locally and posted it publicly. In the dream, I even checked my data. This app categorized my records into different moods. Also, there was a calendar marked with colors to find out the pattern of mood easily and which can reflect my mental status too. Apart from the amazing functions that I have told you just now, this app was super helpful. It could help searching the record out. Just fill in text if you remember, and then choose a mood. So easy. If you want to enjoy the joy of meeting your missed one, you can do so because you can listen to the story again with visuals. Are you amazed by this app also? It can turn our static records into emotional motion graphics. Different styles in 6 different moods: happy, sad, excited, nervous, not applicable and scared. Every motion graphics is every unique combination of text, visual elements and sound. I wish to have it so much. But this is my dream only. Dreamery, an app to make your dream come true.
Hello, I'm Louis from Communication Design. Communication design is how we use design to communicate ideas, messages, moods, or even emotion to receivers, like identity, exhibition, typography, and photography. My project is called Data Sense, which refers to the sensitivity of information and data from people. Living in the information overwhelmed world, we have been receiving large amounts of data and information every day, especially during the pandemic. Most of us are being numbed to the number of confirmed cases or even the death cases, and overlooked the life behind the data. If we become numb to the numbers, we will become a number. My project aims to connect emotion and the meaning behind the data through experiences and interactions of the exhibition, leaflets, and app design. To make readers be more sensitive to numbers by information design. In the situation of a pandemic, Data Science has 3 stages to accomplish the goals. The first stage is a promotion by a set of posters designed to promote the exhibition and information design. Next, the visitors can experience the exhibition, which has visualized the data in different themes, like social distancing, masks, lockdowns, and death cases. Final stage aims to encourage the visitors to keep aware of information design by an app and a set of leaflets designed after the exhibition. Through this project, I was allowed to explore more media to deliver messages apart from using graphics, like hearing and touching in the exhibition. After my graduation, I would like to study and gain more experiences about exhibition design as I've grown my interest in this design field from this project. And there's still room for me to improve and learn more. If you like my sharing and project, like this video and visit the Design Show website for more amazing projects.
Hi guys.
Hello， 歡迎大家嚟到第2個 section 啊。咁我哋咧，你見到我哋個台咧就大咗啦。咁就你見到我哋都有啲Non-JUPAS 嘅學生嚟到，咁咧就希望同大家 share 翻嚟緊你哋可能最關心嘅議題就係點樣 prepare 個 portfolio 啦，同埋入嚟理工大學去讀書嘅時候預備啲乜嘢咧？特別可能係大家最關心嘅就係個 interview 啦。咁而家都介紹下啦，我身邊有 Year 1同埋 Year 2嘅 Non-JUPAS 嘅同學仔啦嚇。咁喺我呢一邊咧就有 Rex 啦、Rico 啦、Sam 啦同埋 Alice 嘅。咁佢哋4位咧先後咧都會預備咗少少嘅一啲資料俾大家去睇啦。咁我諗當中佢哋都可能都喺佢哋報我哋嘅科目communication design 嘅時候咧，佢哋都可能喺當中都有一啲困難啦，或者有一啲 tips 俾大家嘅。咁佢哋點樣去預備佢哋嘅 portfolio 咧？咁我可能以下嘅時間咧逐一去交俾佢哋啦。咁我哋第一位咧就係阿 Rico 咧，就會先講下佢個 preparation 點樣去 prepare 你嗰啲 portfolio。同時間佢哋都可能都會 share 翻佢哋頭先講嚟咗讀咗1年或者讀咗2年嘅時候，佢哋喺一啲理工大學communication design 裏邊嘅 program 有啲心得嘅。咁將時間交俾 Rico。
Hello guys, and thank you for joining us at the Non-JUPAS Communication Design Senior Year Admission Seminar. So once again, my name is Yip Long. You can call me Rico. So today, hopefully, I can give you some tips and advice on how to build your portfolio and how can you prepare for your interview. And lastly, just some sharing about my life in PolyU. Okay, so let's talk about some background information of myself. So I study associate degree in visual communication at the Hong Kong Community College. So I would say the biggest difference between the community college and PolyU is that we do a lot of theoretical practices here, a lot of research, observation, and user tests. So I'll move on to the first part of my sharing. So the first thing that you'll be given to the PolyU is your portfolio, and I would say it is a great chance for you to show your technical skills and aesthetic sense as a designer, but also it's don't forget that it's also a great chance for you to show your design thinking and insight. So I will talk about more in depth later. And lastly, because this is the first thing you'll be submitted to the PolyU, there will be a lot of applicants. So make sure that you are leaving a good impression to the PolyU tutors. So the first thing is that it takes time to create a decent portfolio. So if you're a year 1 student right now, I would say you can already begin your work, prepare for that. I would say first, collect all your works. It doesn't have to be all school-based assignment. It could be something that is self-initiated, or it could be something that's related to your freelance job. I think that works as well. And after that, just basically filter out all your works. And then I would say select a work between 7 to 10 would work best. So most of the people would select 10 works, and they would put into a 20 pages of portfolio. So there would be a total of 10 works. And thirdly, because there are a lot of works, just make sure that you keep it organized, keep it simple and concise. You don't have to put everything inside. Just put the most important thing you would like to tell the tutors. And last but not least, a lot of people actually miss their process and insights of that. A lot of people just put their final outcome, but I would say for a communication design student, it's important to show how you came up with such concepts and ideas that supports your design. So a friendly reminder, your online submission will be in between the 40th to 80th of February. So here's an overview of my portfolio that I've submitted last year. There's 20 pages of work, and then I would say showing diversity is very important. Out of these 8 works I've selected, 3 of them are branding / visual identity, and other works are like publications, typography, or even fashion related. I think that's fine. And also there's a strategy when it comes to organizing your portfolio. I would say first begin with something that you're most confident with your strongest work. I think that could leave a very strong first impression for a tutor, so it makes them really interested in your portfolio and keep them reading through. And I would say last, end your portfolio with another strong work, so it leaves a strong last impression as well. So that's for the portfolio part. If you're lucky enough and you get selected, in a short amount of time you'll be getting an email for the admission interview in between March to April. So I would say in this part it's actually really important, and in general I would just say be genuine and just show who you are. They just want to get to know more about you. And I would say, yes, it's very nerve-wracking, but it's not as nerve-wracking as I've expected. So just be relaxed and be who you are. So the things that you can prepare before your portfolio, depending on if it's an online Zoom portfolio, I would say first, of course, your portfolio, open the window beforehand. So if the tutor asks you to show your portfolio, you can open immediately. The second thing is to test your mic, camera, Wi-Fi, and your share screen function, because some of the applicants might need to restart their computer in order to share their screen. So make sure all these technical skills are solved and you're ready to go. And the third part is that just prepare some of the answer you think they might ask you. So when in the interview, you can just answer it very smoothly. And I think that gives a confident boost for you during the interview, so you get not as nervous. And last year, there are provided questions before your interview. And for me, there is a question that's provided 20 minutes before the interview. And then when it comes to the process of the interview, it usually takes around 15 to 20 minutes. And I would say it begins with a self-introduction of yourself. So just keep it really short and simple, around 1 minute would do. And if I would say if you really want to make yourself stand out in this part, you can talk about a fun facts about yourself. That will really be a conversation starter. And after that, you can move on to the second part, which is the given questions. And last year, I was asked a question that is related to, do you think design should be socially cautious or socially responsible? And then if yes or if no, why? It depends on the day. The question is different. And the third part is your portfolio showcase. So some of the people are asked to briefly talk about every project. And for me, I have to select one of my works and talk it more detailedly. And the last part is just basically Q&A. They may ask you further follow-up questions and other questions. So that's it for the portfolio interview part. So I'd say for the campus life is actually really exciting and surreal, especially in day one at Poly. You stepping into the innovation tower, getting our own table at the studio. It's really surreal. And depending on what subject you're selecting for your semester, I've selected publication design as an example. I got a chance to visit some printing factory in Kuntong. Moreover, there's a lot of group projects involved. So there will be a lot of collaboration, a lot of communication, but it also means it's a great chance to get to know new people and new classmates. And I definitely made a lot of great friends. And talking of great friends, the JUPAS classmates are actually really welcoming and nice to us too. So there's no worries about it. And then these are just some of the biggest work I've done in semester one. So it's basically a wayfinding system for the Hong Kong Museum of Coastal Defense. So that's it, that's for my part. And I just wish you guys good luck. And I do look forward to see you at PolyU.
So the next sharing will be me. Let me introduce myself. I'm Rex, communication design year 3 student. So for this part, I'm going to share some experience to you guys for how I prepare my admission in the year before. So let's briefly introduce myself. I come from the Yield of CHK, so formerly known as the CCCU. I studied an associate degree called Digital Visual Design. It is a little bit different from what I'm studying right now, the communication design. It is a course that is half in design and half in something like new medias. To study here, I think it's a totally new experience for me. So for the next part, I'll share some of the portfolio preparations. Here's my portfolio I submitted in the past to for the mission. So I think there's a few points that is very important for you guys to prepare for your portfolios. The first one, and very obvious one, just select your best works only. Why do I mention it here? Because I understand that many people are very hardworking. They did a lot of works, not including just the school works, but also they did some personal projects. They worked in the internship. But I think quality over quantity. So it's important for you to show them what's best in you. Just show them the best of you. And then for the second part, I think it's important to show a variety of works with different topics and mediums. So for example, me, just like I talk about it, I study both in design and some medias, new medias type. So I included a lot of different mediums in my portfolio. For example, in motion graphics, some of them poster, they have photographies, they have 3D rendering, and even some in animations. And I think just by showing a lot of varieties, you're showcasing how the depth inside you
to the tutors. So the first part is like show the development and problem solving skills. And I think it's one of the most important things here. Actually, I didn't do quite well in my portfolio, so hopefully you don't do the same with me. In the past, I just made those development in works only, so I didn't show any sketches or something like that. But I think it's also important to show sketches to show how you think during your process of making your artworks. I think it's more valuable than just appealing graphics. The tutors want to know how do you think and what kind of person you are inside your portfolio. And so for the fourth part is create a clear and systematic layout. So I think you should keep everything simple and easy to follow. Just keep them clean because the focus is on the works, not on your portfolio. I think that the portfolio is part of your design, but the focus should be on the works you show them. So don't over-design your portfolio. For the last part, I think it's good to also tell a story of yourself. So because everyone is unique, so I think you should find a way to differentiate yourself from the others. And then the other part is that to be honest and sincere at your work. I think it's very stressful for you, so every people want to be perfect and show the best side to the tutors, but don't try to fake anything. I was always reminded that we came here to study, so it is fine to not be perfect. Just try your best and show your potential to them. And then for the next part is the interview part. I think we could just talk a lot about the process of the interview, so I will just talk about something important, I think. I think before the interview, you should ask yourself a few questions. For example, what is strengths and weaknesses of yourself? And why do you want to study in this program? What do you want to achieve in PolyU? And what is your goal after you graduated from PolyU? And then the last one is, what have you done in achieving your goal? Have you done enough of those? I think if you have a clear answer of this question, you have a very clear ideas on what you want to be and why you want to study here. It will be great for you to understand yourself more. And then by answering this question really well, I think you are well prepared for the interview, so you will not be scared at all. So whatever questions they ask about you, you'll be answered very well. And then a little reminder is that be also to prepare to talk about the works in your portfolio. They will ask about that. So now I'm going to share some of my experience in PolyU. I think it's a very enjoyable and wonderful experience from the last semester. Even though the workload is a little bit too much, but I think it's still enjoyable that we can have to learn a lot. The tutors are great. We have to get to learn a lot of things. And then there's a lot of activities, or like in the left-hand side, we go to the visit to the printing factories, and there's a lot of group projects. We can meet some people. And for the best part for me, I think, is that if you have a similar backgrounds to me when I studied an associate degree, we don't have studio there. So the best part for me is actually having a studio there, and we can get a lot of support, like academically and mental support from our peers. We often share ideas to each other. We want to take a look at others' works, and then we make critiques to it. So I think by doing this kind of like sharing, actually we learn faster than only just listening and do our works. And then here is some of the works I've done in last semester. They're similar to Rico. I've also done a project in wayfinding system. So here's some of the works, and I think it's very great that you have a lot of subjects to select. So like last year, I've selected on the publication design. I know there's like typography, there's like illustration, image, that many things. If you want to study, there's a chance for you to get it. So here's the end for mine sharing. I hope to see you all in the coming year. So I'll pass the time to the next student.
OK， 咁大家好啦，我係 Alice， 我係communication 呢一科嘅學生。 咁今日咧，我會同大家講下有關於我喺 Poly Design 嘅一啲嘅生活啦，同埋我都會有少少 tips 俾大家 for prepare 你哋自己嘅 portfolio 嘅。咁先講下我自己先啦。咁我本身咧係喺 HKCC 度讀緊 Visual Communication Design 嘅。咁經過咗2年之後咧，咁我就入咗嚟 Poly U 嘅 Communication Design 啦。咁我覺得呢兩個學習嘅經驗最大嘅分別就係、一個係比較 practical 啲嘅，一個咧就會比較多啲 research， 會多啲 process 你要 show 俾人嚟睇啦。咁就會好重視你嘅 thinking 同埋你一啲好 personal 嘅嘢啦。咁喺communication design 咧，我學咗3樣嘢嘅。咁我自己就會用呢3個字去概括咗我喺 communication design 嘅 experience 啦，分別係 playful 啦、skillful 同埋 meaningful。而 playful 咧就係我哋會有好多有趣嘅課堂啦，因為我哋係好多唔同嘅 elective 加埋一啲其他嘅一啲 compulsory 嘅 courses 咧去 train 我哋嘅 design professional 嘅。咁所以喺課堂上面我哋係可以學到好多嘢嘅，同埋課堂入邊嗰啲活動咧都會好有趣啦。咁會令到你對 design 個認識會更加廣泛嘅。同時之間咧，我哋都有studio 啦，即係頭先同學都提過，係我哋會唔同 year 有唔同嘅 studio 嘅。咁喺 studio 入邊咧，我哋其實可以同其他人溝通啦，而且又可以識到好多唔同嘅朋友啦。咁我哋亦都可以喺 studio 度討論翻自己嗰啲 project 啊，甚至係你可以有一啲 inspiration 係 from 嗰啲同學嘅。咁所以係一個好好嘅機會俾我哋去交流啦，同埋去學習嘅。而另外一方面就係我哋會有好多嘅 activity 去配合去建立翻我哋唔同嘅 design potential 啦。咁其次就係 skillful 啦。咁入到嚟咧，我哋知道我哋其實唔係淨係重視美感嘅。咁喺 skill learning 方面咧，其實我哋都要學習點樣去做 research 啦，更加深入咁樣去做 research 啦，同埋要記錄低你每一個 process 啦，因為呢啲 process 好可能就會成為你日後你嘅 project 嘅一啲嘅 inspiration 嘅。而唔好睇少一啲好細微嘅嘢啦，因為我哋作為一個 design student 啦，我哋就係要非常重視一啲好細微嘅嘢啦。我哋係好識要去好識得 capture 一啲人講過嘅一啲嘢啊，或者係一啲人做過嘅某啲事，咁樣就會將會成為呢一個好大嘅inspiration 啦。咁另外咧，我哋仲會有即係 teamwork 嘅經驗嘅，因為我哋嘅 project 咧好多時候都要work as a teams 啦。咁我哋就會學到同其他人溝通嘅技巧啦，同埋我哋都會有一啲 project，例如 cooperative project 咧係可以同其他 discipline 嘅人合作嘅，就譬如係 advertising 啊、product 啊或者 interior 嘅學生咧，咁就可以知得更多咯。即係同佢哋合作之後，你會發現其實其他 discipline 諗嘅嘢同你諗嘅嘢係好唔同嘅，大家嘅角度其實 focus 嘅嘢都係會好唔同。咁我哋會可以從嗰啲人身上會學到好多唔同嘅知識啦。咁最後就係 meaningful 啦。咁喺 Poly Design 度咧，咁我哋會即係有好多 learning experience 啊，因為喺CD 入邊咧，其實每一個學習嘅過程都好重要啦，同埋都帶俾我好多啟發嘅。同時之間其實都有好多好好嘅 memory 啦，即係譬如同同學相處啊，同老師同老師傾偈啊，甚至係你一齊喺 studio 同啲同學一齊奮鬥 project 嘅時候，我覺得呢啲都係一啲好好嘅 memory， 可以作為我哋人生嘅一個好 grateful 嘅嘢。咁呢啲就係一啲我同我啲朋友嘅一啲相啦，即係喺 studio 度嘅生活啦。咁之後我就會介紹下我喺 Poly U 讀嘅時候做嘅一啲 work 啦。第一個就係一個 packaging 嘅 design 嘅。咁咧就係去 show 你嘅 art direction 嘅 skills 嘅。咁喺呢一堂入邊咧，我學咗好多啦，因為你要由頭 到尾都要去諗你要用咩 style 啦，你用咩 theme 啦，咁我係即係嘗試去用一啲叫做 design style， 即係去再 redesign 翻一啲香港非常 iconic 嘅一啲嘅飲品同埋佢哋嘅 culture 啦。咁之後就係 wayfinding 啦。咁 wayfinding 咧，咁其實係一個好好嘅 project 嘅，喺我 year 3嘅時候讀嘅呢一個 project。咁係都係一個好好嘅經驗啦。咁就係去由頭到尾去自己建立一個 brand identity，去 fit 翻嗰個 client 嘅一啲嘅要求同埋佢哋嗰個一啲嘅 requirement 啦。咁所以會學到好多嘅，即係譬如一啲 client 會俾你意見啦，咁所以你會學到點樣同 client 溝通啦，即係你要同佢講翻你嘅你點解會要咁樣用呢啲 design， 而佢亦都會講翻佢嘅 requirement 俾你聽。咁所以你要 balance 翻如果我係一個 designer 嘅話，我應該要點樣 fulfill 到 client 嘅願望之餘，又可以做到自己想做嘅嘢咧咁樣。咁之後就係一啲嘅 typeface 啦，跟住就係一個 exhibition 嘅 identity。我覺得喺呢一堂入邊咧，我係好開心嘅，因為我可以做到我自己想做嘅嘢啦。因為由頭到尾都係自己一個人落手落腳到去決定成個theme 啊，成個 colour 要做啲乜嘢啊，咁等等。我覺得係非常好玩嘅一個課堂嚟嘅。同時之間都學咗好多關於 typography 嘅一啲嘢啦，就譬如啲字點樣擺啊，啲字擺喺邊個位啊，會比較即係令個 layout 睇落去會比較整潔啊，會更加 presentable 啦。咁最後都係一啲 poster 同埋一啲我嘅 printing 同埋 3D rendering 嘅一啲嘅works 啦。咁我最後有少少 tips 想俾翻大家嘅，就係咧，你要喺呢個 portfolio 度咧 show 到你所有嘅嘢都係 meaningful 噶啦。咁唔係單止淨係美感嘅，咁所有嘢咧其實都要有自己嘅意思嘅。即係譬如點解你用呢個顏色啊？點解要用呢個字體等等啦？咁同埋係 show 到你自己係一個點樣嘅人，因為一啲一個佢哋interviewer 係好想知道你其實係一個點樣嘅人，因為每個人都係非常特別嘅，咁所以咧佢會想知多啲你嘅 personality 啦，同埋你嘅一啲獨特嘅特點啦。咁最後就係其實你係需要有一啲好特別嘅 insight 同埋一啲非常強嘅分析技巧啦，因為喺我哋嘅課程入邊咧，我哋係需要好多嘅 research 啦。其實我哋係要由 research 去帶到整成一個 outcome 嘅，而唔係淨係整一個 outcome 而忽略咗 research。咁所以咧，我哋係要非常有呢個好強嘅分析技巧去令到我哋成個 project become more comprehensive 啦。咁我最後就希望大家可以 good luck 啦，同埋 thank you。咁我會將時間 pass 俾下一個學生。
All right, I hope you guys are still with us. So my name is Samuel, current community education design student here at PolyU. I actually graduated visual communication in HKU space, like so many of you guys who are planning to apply to. And at HKU space, if I were to differentiate the difference between community college and where I'm currently at, is at HKU space, it's a bit more technical, explorative in the sense of being able to work with different softwares. It's smaller in amount of people and the people you meet, and it's a bit more practical. But when you go to PolyU, it's a bit more theoretical, research heavy, and a bit larger in scale with being able to meet different people from different design disciplines, but I'll further elaborate in the next few slides. So, life at PolyU. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've sort of seen what my fellow colleagues have just spoken about their life in PolyU. It's pretty much fun. We're just so privileged to be able to experience face-to-face recently. Unlike for my colleague Alice and I, where when we first entered PolyU, we had it online as year 3 students, which was very, very, very different. But so far, yes, things are a bit more fun because you get to meet new people. whereas unfortunately now we have the new case of Omicron. Things are going back into what we've originally experienced before, but that shouldn't be much of a problem now since we're pretty much okay with that. So electives. So as I said earlier, the electives. When you talk about electives, the reason why I said that it's larger in scale and the people you meet around in PolyU, it's mainly because you actually take electives with not only your own discipline. You can also take the electives with people from advertising design, sometimes from social design, and even sometimes from even EID, like environment interior design. So that's the good thing about School of Design here in PolyU is that they give you the option to study not only specific to your communication design field. So if you're interested in other things, then you're free to do so. Second is service learning. So this is one of the requirements you have to partake in when you're studying as a senior year intake. Unlike your other colleagues at PolyU, they can take service learning earlier at the stage of year 1. Whereas for me, I took it on just actually last semester, my final year. And I must say, if I could recommend it to you guys, take it the minute you enter PolyU, because this is definitely a very strenuous subject. And it really depends on the kind of service learning that you intend to partake in. So when you study here, you're also going to be joining in some work integrated education, whereas for me, I did my summer internship at a graphic design studio here in Hong Kong, where we mainly work with clients in Hong Kong and in Beijing. This is more to do with an exploration of Chinese culture personally, because I wanted to work with a lot more Chinese designs, but this is something that will be regarded as part of your accumulated GPA. So you will be required to do an internship report, and that would essentially add up to your GPA. So next, you would also do the cooperative project, which is what my colleague Alice just talked about recently, where you really will, you're going to be in a project where there's a lot of different design disciplines, and you're going to learn a lot about working as a team, because obviously, when you go out into the industry after you graduate PolyU, you're going to have to know this skill. And this is very important, especially when you're someone who's a little bit impatient as myself, but definitely worth something that you would explore as well. So portfolio preparation. I think you guys remember, some of you guys might have seen the video on YouTube, but this is essentially my portfolio that I applied when I applied here to PolyU. As Rico did mention again, as long as you prepare everything, as long as you keep your ideas and works concise as possible, then you're definitely ready for the interview as well. Which now leads to what can you prepare for? Obviously now we're going to be doing it online, as Rico did mention as well. Make sure that it's mic ready. You have to be in a silent environment so you can be focused, and you also have to get ready your portfolio and also answer the questions that they have provided to you. Whereas for in-person, which I'm not entirely sure if that's possible now, but in case it is, pretty much the same thing except without the mics and without the silent environment. So hopefully that's enough for you. In the end of the day, you have to make sure that when you're in your interview or when you're preparing yourself in your portfolio, you have to show yourself. And that's the most important thing as a communication design student, is being able to communicate who you are with confidence. And that is the end of my sharing. So I hope you guys find that useful.
好。咁咧就多謝各位同學佢share 到佢個 tips 俾大家啦，同埋一啲點樣 prepare 一啲portfolio 啦，同埋都會都有講到點樣去處理 interview 啦。咁我相信你作為有興趣 communication design 呢個 program， 我相信都俾咗好多 tips 同埋都好多意見俾大家。咁我諗以下落嚟嘅時間咧，都會係一啲 Q&A， 即係可能你會有問題嘅。咁咧請你咧就唔好客氣，就盡量問我哋啦。咁咧無論係關於點樣做。即係砌 prepare 你個 portfolio 啦，亦都可以問下個點樣喺我哋嘅 program 嚟緊你有興趣嗰啲subject 係啲咩啊，都可以問我哋唔單止問我啦，咁亦都可以問我哋啲同學都可以嘅，係啦。好，咁咧就事不宜遲啦，我都睇到好多問題啦，咁咧就第一條問題咧就係問究竟你都係問學生同學仔多嘅，就係問而家喺PolyU 呢個 呢個環境裏邊或者呢個大樓裏邊，究竟有啲咩嘅資源可以提供到俾大家喺學習上，去令到大家喺學習一啲設計嘅時候可以幫到大家咧？有冇同學想分享啊？
Okay, I guess I can help answer. Okay, do I use Zoom, right? Okay, so I mean, honestly, we do have, I'd say, sufficient enough materials or resources when you want to pursue your works here in the School of Design. Like, say, for example, we have the digital print shop where you can print any kind with different kinds of paper. You've also got the Material Resource Center, which is very important if you're doing packaging design, as well as other poster design materials as well. We've also got the wood and metal workshops. So if you're pursuing or planning to develop some sort of tangible outcome, like say product design or something, so on and so forth, then you can definitely work there. And we've also got my favorite, the 3D printing. So if you're interested in doing 3D printing as well, we have that here at the School of Design. How about you guys? Oh, actually, I also forgot, we also have nearby printing shop, also from PolyU, which is, you can actually get it in our P core as well. So they do provide die cut as well, or special materials like stickers and so on and so forth. Yeah. We've got another question. So what's the software used most? Well, oh my goodness. You guys have an opinion about that?
I think it depends on what you're working on. I would say the most basic, like Adobe software, like Illustrator,
Yeah.
Photoshop. So depending on the elective you're choosing. For me, as an example, I've chosen publications. So InDesign is one of the most used software. So there's definitely a lot of software you can play with. If you want to do like 3D things, like Cinema 4D or Blender could also work as well.
Yeah. Which I think is very important though. I feel like if you're going to be applying as a senior year intake, it's very important to actually know all the Adobe softwares. Well, not all, but the majority of it. And also, if you have any other softwares that you use, you can definitely apply that. Yeah. Third one is, are all the facilities in the tower can be used? Is there a 3D printer? Yes, as said earlier, there is a 3D printer here. In the tower, you definitely can use the facilities, but you obviously have to register that online through the system. And yeah, that's pretty much sums up what your question is.
OK，另外咧就有朋友想問咧，就嗰條問題就係問要提到要入去讀 CD， 究竟要喺呢個 profile 要 show 到你係一個咩人啦？咁你會覺得CD 點解要收你咁啦？我相信係嗰條問題。咁同埋第二條問題就係究竟係咩人會適合讀 CD 呢個 program 咧？即係究竟點樣可以令到自己成為嗰個人就可以適合讀 CD 咧嚇？咁第三條問題咧就係CD 即係 communication design 同其他 design 嘅科目有啲咩唔同嘅地方咧？咁嗰地方唔同係啲咩咧？咁樣 OK， 有冇同學想答啊？或者我答頭嗰條啦。咁我諗最重要就係點解係咩人會show 到覺得係適合讀 CD 啦？其實可能第一條同第二條都好類似。咁我諗最重要你好中意 CD 啦，即係 communication design。其實我哋老師去睇你哋個所謂 portfolio 嘅時候咧，其實都想睇下你喺個設計個 language， 即係 design 個 language 嗰度豐唔豐富啦。咁同埋記住你去 submit 你個 portfolio 嘅時候，其實你唔係一個人 submit 嘅喎，你會記住其實有成200幾個人咧係同樣一次過去 submit 呢個 portfolio。咁即係話你除咗 show 咗你自己識得啲乜嘢嘅時候咧，其實你都要睇下如果我同其他人究竟有咩特別嘅地方咧咁樣。咁當然又唔係去到另外一個極端，就係話我要為咗特別而特別，而係頭先同學都有分享到究竟你第一點解會覺得適合啦，第二就係你個 portfolio 有幾 diversify 啦，點解咧？因為我哋都想知道你去處理一個問題嘅時候，你係多角度去處理啊，定係 只係得一兩個方法去做咧咁樣。咁其實可以睇到你個作品裏邊咧係反映到究竟你係一個咩人咯。咁當然我哋頭先同學都有傾到就係我哋想了解而家你嚟讀嘅時候，你係一個doer 定係一個 thinker 啦。OK， 如果你係做嘢嘅人咧，咁其實可能你係安於可能淨係做一啲嘢出嚟。但係我哋個 program 唔想去淨係收呢啲嘅學生，我哋都想睇下佢對個世界觀啦，對而家嘅設計啦，或者對一啲時事嘅問題，或者對一啲學科嘅問題，佢哋有冇去提出一個發問，提出一個更好嘅方案咧？咁其實言下之意就係佢唔係甘於接受一啲而家老師要俾你嘅嘢。而係佢都想作出一個提問，去問下我做咗呢樣嘢其實點樣同人個關係、同社會、同設計究竟三者之間嘅關係有啲咩嘅得益出嚟咧？咁當然越講越長啦。咁但係就我諗最重要就係當你去prepare 你個 portfolio 嘅時候，第一反唔反映到你個 personality 啦。第二係你認為設計應該喺呢個功課裏邊佢嘅角色喺邊度咧？係啦，咁頭先同學都俾咗一啲 tips 俾大家嘅時候，就係你唔係純粹去出現一個 ultimate 嘅 finding 或者 ultimate 嘅 presentation， 而係個 process。我哋都想了解下究竟點解你會用呢個 approach 咧？背後嘅原因係啲咩？你其實睇到啲乜嘢咧？其實我哋都想睇下你睇到啲乜嘢，同埋點解你會覺得係咁樣係 work 咧？咁呢啲都係牽涉你點樣去 communicate 你個最後邊嘅設計俾人聽。OK， 咁另外咧就係同學都有問CD 同其他 design 嘅科目有咩唔同？咁我相信有啲同學點解會問呢個問題？我估啦嚇。咁可能都有同學都會問究竟同 advertising design 啦，或者 product design 有啲咩唔同咧 ？Communication 好似好 broad 去講。咁我諗呢個都想俾大家去思考下嘅，因為我哋都唔想話俾一個絕對呢個係一個啱嘅答案。反而我覺得你去思考下點解你會想報 communication design。呢個其中一個 tips 就係我哋 interview 一定會問嘅。咁咧就反為我而家就唔開估啦，或者亦都冇一個絕對嘅答案啦。咁我調翻轉，你應該要問翻自己點解你會覺得CD 係適合你喺讀設計嘅時候，你覺得點解 communication design 係適合你咧？咁樣好，有冇補充其他同學？
I find it very true though, because before you apply to communication design as a senior year intake, obviously from me, my background, when I was studying in HKU space, I could have the choice of studying advertising design because we were learning a lot of marketing language in that aspect as well. However, obviously you should be able to know what you're going into, because in communication design, it's more than just visuals, it's more than aesthetic, it's about communication, it's about communicating visuals to people in a manner that is understandable. So I think, yes, it might be similar to other design disciplines, but we heavily explore that specific area in design. So yeah, I agree with you.
唔該，阿 Sam。咁咧，另外就又有朋友想問咧，就係 Year 3究竟最多收幾多 Non-JUPAS 嘅學生咧？咁咧就我哋通常都係16個度，係啦。咁所以你可想而知，其實我哋都希望喺interview 嘅過程裏邊，點解咁重要？就係一方面可以俾你去讓我哋認識你究竟點解你覺得communication design 適合你。另一方面，我哋都想從個過程裏邊咧，去知道你點解覺得喺個設計裏邊，你覺得 CD 或者 communication design 幫咗你去成長喺個設計上面。咁其實都係喺個過程裏邊，我哋都希望了解咗之後，呢個科目係適合你嘅時候咧，就會喺個過程裏邊當然都會睇你個 portfolio 啦，睇你個對答啦。唔單止其實同學都有講到，唔係單純係你畫嘢靚唔靚或者得唔得，而係反為你係有冇一個 critical thinking 喺背後嘅 support 咯。 咁所以喺個過程裏邊，喺個 interview 可能係短短嘅15分鐘、20分鐘，就係睇下你點樣去將成件事去整理，同埋去講到你希望我哋想知嘅嘢咯。咁答翻轉頭就係大約16個度，係啦。好另外咧就另一個問題咧就係你好嚇，咁咧請問一個交 proposal 之前交 application 會有一位喺放喺 additional document 上，知道係唔係放喺入邊？
放咩喺入邊 ？additional
有冇 admin 嘅同事可以？我哋睇一睇admin 嘅同事可唔可以答到呢條問題？
嗰個 additional document 咧，其實係如果你有啲 reference letter 啊，或者一啲特別嘅獎項，有啲 cert 咧，想俾老師睇，你可以 upload 上去。唔該。
Okay, cool.
咁嗰啲 additional document 其實如果你有咧都頭先校務處嘅同事都有講到㗎啦，即係如果你有一啲覺得你之前可能參加咗啲設計比賽啊，或者可能係做過一啲義工係關於同設計有關係，你覺得有一個 relevance， 即係有一個關係性，咁都歡迎大家去將你認為幫到喺即係去做 interview 又好，或者入呢個 program 嘅時候，都鼓勵大家去擺入去嘅。咁當然唔係個個都一定有啦，咁所以你有嘅時候，我哋都會一併咁樣去睇咁樣咯。好咁呢一個好好嘅問題我要講下。咁咧有一位朋友就想講我英文唔係太好，咁係咪一個好 huge 嘅 problem 喎？佢話咁 huge 唔 huge 就你自己定啦。即係我而家就用廣東話去講啫嚇。咁但係咧，即係我要喺度再提多次大家啦。你所有報名嘅嘢交嘅 portfolio 一定係要英文嘅。咁以往我都收過一啲 portfolio 咧，可能佢個 client 係語言係中文啦，咁所以喺寫嗰個所謂創作嘅過程咧，咁我都見過一啲applicant 佢係用中文寫嘅。咁你要記住咧，我哋其實我諗有1/3到以上咧，其實我哋嘅老師都唔係non-local 嘅一啲朋友嚟㗎，即係老師啦。咁佢哋係唔識睇中文嘅嚇。咁如果你唔能夠好好咁樣用英文嚟作為一個溝通，或者寫報告啊，或者去 presentation 啊，或者做嘢功課咧，其實都好大困難嘅。咁所以咧，你可以咁講係一個好 huge 嘅 problem。咁當然我相信如果你有興趣喺我哋 program，咁我哋都會知道你係需要有一定嘅程度嘅英文去做功課啦，同埋做溝通啦咁樣。同埋除咗老師之外，其實我哋都有一部分嘅同學都係嚟自其他唔同嘅國家嘅地方啦嚇。咁譬如印度啊、韓國啊、台灣啊，咁都會本地都係啦，本地我哋都有啲學生佢已經係讀國際學校，咁其實都係用英文溝通，咁所以唔單止係同老師溝通，其實同同學之間都要用英文去溝通。
Yeah, because like a lot of the assignments actually at communication design it's a lot of essays, and you need to be able to eloquently communicate your thoughts on a piece of paper. So definitely, it's not a big problem, but I think as long as you're able to, relay information, then it's fine. Yeah, for sure. We got another question. Any opportunities with real clients? Yes, we do. I mean, not only opportunities with clients, but also opportunities with outside of school projects as well. But essentially, it's about being able to build rapport with your professors and tutors as well. But in terms of what I recently shared earlier, we do have a cooperative project where you will engage with real-time clients, real clients who are actually from either large companies, corporate companies, or even just SMEs or small medium enterprises. So you actually do that on your final year in the first semester, which my colleague Alice and I have 2 different experiences. Maybe she could also explain that. about her experience with the real life client on service, the cooperative design. Yeah. So what did you work on actually?
咁頭先都有提及到我哋係有一啲 project 其實係 client project， 就好似頭先嘅 wayfinding 咁樣啦。咁其實係真係真實嘅 client 嚟嘅。咁佢哋會同你會開會啦，即係會討論下你嘅 design process 同埋你嘅 design thinking 嘅。咁佢哋都好想去了解其實點解你要咁樣做咧咁樣。因為佢哋唔係一個 designer， 佢哋唔知其實點解你要用呢啲顏色，點解要用呢個 typography。所以喺溝通嘅時候其實就好重要嘅，因為我哋唔單止淨係用 visual 去溝通啦，我哋仲要用自己嘅 language 啦、design 嘅 language 去同佢溝通。咁務求係令一啲就算唔係一個 designer 嘅人都睇得明，同埋都知道其實個含義係啲邊係乜嘢意思咁樣啦。咁同埋我哋之後係會有 internship 啦，咁我哋其實都係要做即係 within 6 week 甚至8 week 嘅 internship 啦。咁其實係一個 full time 咁樣去返一份工咧，係一個好好嘅一個經驗，去俾你認識到真實嘅世界入邊其實嗰啲 client 會係點樣啦。即係入邊可能會不停咁 judge 你嘅 design 甚至係即係佢會覺得你做得唔夠多或者佢甚至係會將你變成一個叫做 keyboard mouse controller 咁樣啦。咁其實好多挫折同埋一啲我哋未能夠即係真係會喺學校度學到嘅嘢，都會喺一啲client project 度可以學到咯。咁所以真實地去工作其實係同喺學校度學嘅模式其實都係完全唔一樣嘅。咁但係我哋都要將學校運用到嘅一啲嘅嘢去 apply 落去我哋嘅工作度咯。
Very true. Yeah. Same with the cooperative. So we've also another question. I think it's from one last one as well.
OK， 最後尾個問題啦嚇，最後問題我諗大家可以答啦。咁呢位朋友就問，咁咧究竟 design work 喺個 portfolio 嘅重點係喺個 process 定係喺個 final work 嗰度咧咁樣？咁究竟係 process 定係個 final work 咧？同學有冇啲
final work
Rex 或者 Rico
show 到 final work 係好重要嘅，但係更加重要係 show 到個 process， 佢點解去慢慢去 develop 到去呢個 final work 度，因為喺呢個 process 度你可能會睇到好多即係你自己 idea 上嘅轉變，又或者係你點樣慢慢一步一步越嚟越去建立到你嗰個最後出嚟個 piece 究竟係個原因係乜嘢？咁我覺得喺佢哋 interview 嘅時候或者 portfolio 嘅時候，其實佢哋好想知道呢一樣嘢，就係你究竟喺design 過程裏邊，你係點樣去諗，去點樣去思考呢個work 最後出嚟嘅結果係咩？而當中你又用咗啲咩方法或者係咩原因驅使你去做呢樣嘢咧？咁我覺得所以呢一 part 其實都係好重要。我覺得非常之建議大家係將即係你 sketch 又或者係甚至係你可以寫低你嘅一啲諗法去 show 俾佢哋睇，究竟你點樣去得出最後嘅結果咯。
Yeah, definitely. I think they both come hand in hand, really, the process and the final work showing. Because, of course, when you do, but the thing is, most important is when you're doing your process, when you're describing your process or showing your process, you don't just say like, I chose to use red because it looks pretty. No, that is not what they're looking for. It's because every aspect of your design should have critical thinking, should have a reason behind why you produce this final work. So that's why it's important to have them both there. Yeah.
And I think that with process, it's actually creating depth to your project. So it's not only about how aesthetic pleasing your work is about. As Dev mentioned, that communication design, we have to do a lot of research, a lot of theoretical things, observations, user testing, in order to have evidence and supports and data to support our design. So it's not only about how beautiful things are. We do certain choice because we have made some research on that. So it creates a stronger design and a more depth projects.
Stronger impact.
好，咁就我相信大家都仲有好多問題嘅，但係咧，因為我哋時間有限啦，咁但係咧， 如果你繼續有問題想問關於portfolio 或者 interview 關於點樣入 communication design 咧，咁歡迎大家咧去繼續瀏覽我哋嘅 polyudesign.com 啦，亦都可以繼續 follow 我哋 Facebook 啦、YouTube 啦同埋 IG channel 嘅。咁各位同學，我哋一齊講拜拜好嘛？拜拜。
Thanks for coming.